it off.
Okay, I got your audience.
Hello, my name is Melanie Joseph, and I'm going to be speaking to you about the disease lupus. The first time I learned about lupus, I was maybe 20, 21. My cousin, who was 19 at the time, we had graduated from high school maybe a year and a half or so. She went to the military, she went to the Army, and when she finished basic training, she was diagnosed with lupus, severe lupus. Then she went to remission, got married, got pregnant. She lost the baby. And once she got pregnant and lost the baby, the lupus came back. She eventually died at the age of 22. The last time I was with her, she said she didn't want to fight anymore. And that night, we rushed her to the hospital, and maybe a week or so later, she lost the battle. Lupus is a disease that has become known in some communities more than others. The African American and Native American communities know lupus better than any other community. As I move forward, I will share different aspects of the disease, such as what lupus is, the causes, the different types of the disease, and prognosis in future life. Lupus is a disease that is not caused by a gene or a couple of genes. However, more than one person in a family can have the disease. As I stated before, there are communities that the disease is more prevalent in. So even though it's not passed through the gene link, more than one person in a family can have the disease. It is a chronic inflammatory disease that targets different body parts, from the skin to the internal organs. The disease can be caused by hormones and the environment. Examples of the environment would be sunlight, stress, exhaustion, even indoor lighting can trigger the disease, a cold, an infection. There are 4 different types of lupus. There's the most severe, and the lupus disease that is diagnosed the most is called systemic lupus, also called SLE. It can range from a mild form to a severe form, affecting from the skin to the internal organs. Then there's cutaneous lupus, which is also called discoid lupus, because a rash can develop like a disc on your face or on your body parts. And that only affects the skin. But these individuals can also develop systemic lupus. There's neonatal lupus, which is passed from a mother to her unborn child. The child will have the disease for several months, but in rare cases, the child can have an irregular heartbeat. The last form of lupus would be prescription medication-induced lupus, and this is induced with individuals that take heart medications and blood pressure medications. Once they stop taking the medications, lupus goes away. The history: lupus has been around since the early 19th century. A scientist named Batman discovered lupus. Then in the mid-19th century, a scientist named Casenave, and then in the late 19th century, von Hebra was the scientist working on lupus. At that time, there wasn't much hope for lupus. A lot of people died. However, now people can live with lupus. There is no cure for lupus. And if people that are diagnosed with lupus nowadays have treatment and follow-up care, 80 to 90% of those people can live a normal life. Isn't that wonderful? Amen. According to the Kidney Foundation, the people that do die from the disease die for one of 2 reasons. They either have kidney failure or they have a severe infection. I have come to know 6 individuals with lupus. 3 of those 6 individuals have died, but those were like maybe 20 years ago. So since that time, they have found different ways for people to live with the disease and lead a normal life. Lupus is a disease that has no cure. There are 4 different types of the disease. It affects women mostly, but men and children can also be diagnosed with the disease. And the disease, there are 4 types ranging from mild to severe. I have put together a board here that says lupus. There's a table here that talks about the symptoms affiliated with systemic lupus. There's a table on this side that speaks to the different types of lupus and the common symptoms. But there are also diseases that mimic lupus, so the disease is hard to diagnose. And then there are just a website here that's called the Us in Lupus, and these are just women who are just telling their story of what the disease has done for them. And the chart just says, can you have lupus? There are websites that we can go to and take tests to see if we have any of the signs and symptoms. And once I'm done, if you all have questions, I will certainly answer them. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there any questions?